Hi, everybody. We're back. Our Two Crones and a microphone. And as you know, if you've been following us, we are recording all these fabulous bits of information and these great interviews. And this is all to help you get through the muddy waters of our time, which, of course, is my tagline. Um, and we've gotten really good response from people that the information we're putting out there is really helping. So soak it all in, enjoy the interview we have today, which is a person I have known, my God, for a very long time. We met when we were working in the same hospital back in the 80s, believe it or not. And that's a whole story in itself. You know, we could do a whole podcast on that hospital. It was crazy stuff, crazy cakes. Anyway, our guest today is Theresa Varela, who is an RN and she's a nurse practitioner. And I am going to let Sally take over the introduction for you all. Sally?
So, hello, everybody, and welcome. We're glad that you're listening. It is my total delight and pleasure to introduce Theresa Varela. She's an award-winning author of the Daisy Muñez Urban Cozy Mystery Series, which, by the way, if you haven't read it, they are just a lot of fun and very interesting, and the Graciella La Gitana Oracle Deck. Her creative works are woven with strands of mystery and with a psychological and psychic twist. She's a board member of the Sisters in Crime New York Tri-State chapter and a member of the Crime Writers of Color, Queer Crime Writers, and Mystery Writers of America. Theresa's also an astrologer, an amazing astrologer, by the way, spiritualist, and walks the path of the divine feminine. She has a PhD in nursing from New York University, which Betty talked a little bit about the fact that she's a nurse and has worked as a psychiatric nurse practitioner for many years. And we used to joke because I was in the West and she was in the East, and we were kind of anchoring, doing very, very similar work. She currently works in the New York City shelter system and can be found in a variety of social media places. But we're going to start by saying you're going to want to get in touch with her. Her website is www.teresavarela.com. And just for a reminder now here at the beginning, we'll give you access to all the different ways that you can get a hold of her and the wonderful things that she has written and are available. And we'll sum that up kind of at the end of the interview and also have it on our website so that you can find her if you want to. And you're going to want to find her, I just have to say. So welcome and glad you're all here.
Thank you. I am honored to be here. Thank you, Betty. Thank you, Sally, for inviting me. And as I listen to I've known you for so many years, right? So this should feel like we're around the dining table as we often do, and we share our stories. Yeah, but listening to your intro, it's like, oh my goodness, you're doing so much. How are you doing all of those things? It's like one little bit at a time, years in the making, right? One little chunk, one day at a time. So that's the first thing that I'd like to say. And I also want to start by saying that all of this is for the higher good. These podcasts, what we're sharing with each other, on this planet, personally, individually, and in a larger, the larger picture, so that I hope that today I can be of some help to someone. And I know already that this is helping me, to be able to be here and to share with you both some of what I do and some of what I know.
Thank you.
So nice. So nice. So, Theresa, you have this amazing card deck. And I'm wondering if you would mind sharing a reading with us. Just a card, pull a card, see how it goes.
I will absolutely love to do that. Okay. So I have created. It's called Graciella la Gitana, and Gitana is gypsy in Spanish, oracle. And this oracle was gifted to me by one of my spirit guides. And I'll talk a little bit later about how I created it, but this is, I think you can see the box on here. And it's a 56 card deck. It's not a tarot. That's what a lot of people wonder. Is it a tarot deck? It's not a tarot deck. It is a divinatory tool, basically. Tarot has a certain structure. This is different than that. These are 56 concepts. And we'll start out by pulling a card, and then we can go from there. So I will ask, what is the highest good information that we need to share today about in this podcast? So I had already smudged the cards. I had shuffled the cards, and now I made a spread. And now I will listen to see which card wants to be chosen. Was Bravada card. Oh my goodness, this is always one of the most, this card is it's a tricky card. Bravada. So how are we going to bring that in today? I think the first thing that comes to me, I don't know if I should say this on podcast, but the thought that I get is that this may sound terrible, but you can't save your ass and save your face at the same time. You just can't do it. Like, what is the most important? When we come out there, when we go out there and we show who we are and we are fully ourselves, what are the chances that we are taking? What are the risks that we are taking? And I think that's important for me too, like to say, oh my goodness, you do all of these things, Theresa Varela, like which one are you gonna, present? Because we have we are in so many roles, right? We're mother, child, husband, wife, there are just so many worker among workers, right? There are just so many things that we do. Um, and I'm gonna read well, actually, I don't have the booklet that comes with this with me right now. But the card shows where she's standing in water. One foot is up, you're not seeing it. One foot is in the water. And she's in front of a tree. And there looks to be a sack that's hanging from that tree. So I'm thinking it's riches, right? There's a sack hanging from the tree in the middle of the night someplace. There's got to be riches in there. And she has a knife in her hand, and it looks to me like she's going to take that bag down. But, depending on what the circumstance is, maybe she actually just put that bag up there. Maybe she cut the cord, maybe she tied it, and she put those riches up there. And she's grounded because she has one foot on the tree root. She's also open to the divine feminine because she has her other foot in the water, right? Which is of the mother. So she knows she's protected at night. So I think in this particular reading, it's about taking that bag of goods down and showing them and showing them. And that's not only for myself today. Like these are the gifts that I have. These are all the blessings that, the goddess has provided me with. But it's for all of us to think about that, with everything that is going on, with everything that we're doing. It's, to stay grounded, to be aware that we have all the tools that we need, and when we need to take down those tools and to use them. So I think that's the message that Graciella is giving for us today, is to know that you have your stash and you can go in at any time and use those tools, whatever they are, even if it's in the deep of the night. Yeah.
That's so applicable to today, isn't it? Oh my god, because none of us seem to know which way we're going. You think you're going this way, and all of a sudden you swerve over here. I mean, everybody I know is going through this, and I think that often we forget the tools that we have, and particularly since we're Crohn's, we have accumulated, I mean, probably a trunk wouldn't be big enough, right? But these are the essentials, and we can take them and dip into them at any time and use them, whether it's for us or for others or for Mother Earth. What a great reading. Thank you, Teresa. I really appreciate it.
I know, and I think, okay, because I'm a camper and a hiker, I think of a bear bag, like,
Mhm.
the food, everything is put up in the tree to keep it safe, and sometimes I think we forget we have plenty of things that we can feed ourselves with, and plenty of things like, we need to bring them down from the tree and open the bag up and share them. And when you were saying, I feel like the bag needs to come down, right, and be opened up, I just was like, "Yes," because yeah, we have all these things that we can share as crones, as people that are following a spiritual path. Sometimes we keep them so safe, we forget to use them up
Good
in the
Yeah.
point.
tree, right?
Yeah, I'm thinking that, so I know for myself, I would, save for a rainy day, save for when you need it, right? That time may come where you're going to, then use the resources that you've put aside. Make sure you put aside some resources, right? And that
Yeah.
many of us have done that, right? Many of us have done that. And we don't say, okay, well, the rainy day isn't here yet. But in actuality, in many ways, the rainy days are here. So now's the time. Like, you don't have to use all of the resources, use some of the resources. But if you look, like, it's not only physical things like going, to the tree at night and taking down this sack filled with riches, but maybe it's sitting within, maybe it's sitting in a quiet space and looking and saying, okay, like what do I have in here that I can still give um without losing myself, with all, like we were talking about earlier, right before we started, about all the crazy that's going on, without all the chaos that's going on. Yeah.
So, Teresa, how did you come up with this deck and how did it get created? I know the artwork is really different.
So when I was in doctoral school for my dissertation, this is the wide tale. The wide tale is that when I was in doctoral school, I have my PhD in research and theory development in nursing, and I was doing my dissertation on a topic that was, I was looking at HIV and AIDS in persons with AIDS who practice Santeria. And Santeria is an offshoot of the Orisha tradition, which is an African tradition that was brought over during the slave trades that people started practicing in the U.S. Right? We know as like Santeria, Voodoo, Obia, like they're different, very similar, very much the same, but they do have their differences. So when I was going to people's houses as a community health nurse in the 90s, I saw that a lot of people were practicing, and I was like, oh my goodness, this is so interesting. It's like, how are you? Like, a lot of our, people were dying in the 80s, right? In the 90s of AIDS. And it's like, but you're so strong. Like, how do you have all the spiritual sustenance? And they said, my religion helps me. So I decided to do my study on that. And when I finished my doctorate, I was like, uh-oh, like, that's it. Like, where do I go now? Like, what do I look for? I think a lot of us have that empty space, right? After we finish our doctorate and after we've like explored a particular area. And I started to attend spiritual seances. I started to attend some of the drummings that these people who then I had made friends with, of gatekeepers and so forth. And I also started to explore the religion. And but part of that was going to seances, learning how to be a spiritist. Like, I actually got taught how to be a spiritist. Like, it took a long time. It was many years. By first you start listening, then it's almost like, Ocean, and I'll bring up her name. It's like, don't discount anything that you hear, anything that you feel. Ocean Fast Wolf, one of my earliest teachers, right? She would teach us that. And so I like paid attention to that. And so then I was studying and, going to these spiritual seances and so forth and learning how to do readings. And I then got to know who some of my spirit guides were. And one of my most active spirit guides is Graciella. And she is a gypsy. And she is, and I say she is, although she was alive on this planet probably in the early 1900s. And so she would whisper to me. She still talks to me in meditation, or sometimes, or just even when I just pick up the oracles, she is there. She is there. So, like, if you were to pick up your oracles, she's going to talk to you. And I see Betty nodding her head because I really believe that, because her whole idea is about compassion. It's about sharing kindness. It's about sharing compassion, charity, doing good works. So I started to get this idea that I was supposed to make a tarot set. And I started, but it was going nowhere. And I went to a reading. I asked actually a friend of ours, and I asked her to do a reading for me. And I'm like, I'm doing this card, but these cards, but they don't seem to be going anywhere. I don't know, what am I doing wrong? And she says, because they're not a tarot. She says, they're not. They're an oracle. And once she said it was an oracle, then suddenly I was freed up. I felt like the doors had opened up, and so I started to write, and I started to get these concepts. So I wrote on little index cards like bravado, friendship, water. I have the 4 directions in here: fidelity, contemplation, temptation, dance. These were the concepts that Graciela was channeling to me. And so I would write them down. I would draw little I would draw little images. I used to draw as a child. I am no illustrator, but I would draw these images. And then my daughter is an illustrator, and she had gone to FIT. She I said to her, please, can you draw these pictures? And she was like, I know, so look, it took years. I mean, this was years in the making, um, between the time that I got the concept and that I was able to write down all the concepts of the images. And she did different art mediums, but finally decided on doing digital. So she drew the pictures through digital. And finally we created the set. We created the set. And I think that I actually like had this published in 2019, right? So that was I think it was 2019, a couple of years before. Anyway, I guess it does. Oh no, it's actually 2018. I just did the back of the box. Okay, so Graciela Gitana I did them in 2018. And then I have a website, and every week, and now I'm doing it monthly, I do a blog post on a concept that I'm asking, what is the information that the readers on this that come to this website need to know? So I pull a card. I do readings for people with them. And I just finished a companion handbook. It's a companion book. And what it has is, because the booklet itself is a tiny little booklet that comes with the cards, that has a little snippet, like a little poem about the concept. And it's in English and in Spanish. It's translated into Spanish within the same publication. It's a little tiny book. But I just not just wrote, because it's now just ready, right? Because nothing is ever just done. It takes years for these things to happen. So the book that I've just completed is a more of an explanation about the concept. It also has an affirmation that comes with it, and also a reflection. So it's like, what do I need to know? Where am I with this concept? And what will I say when I look in the mirror, right? That affirmation, that I am whole, that I am here today. Um, Something that'll be uplifting for us and that also like increases our awareness and our clarity.
I love that you use the word uplifting because when you were talking, I was thinking a little bit ahead and wanted to say to people, obviously Betty and I and Linda have used these cards before and they are beautiful. And uplifting is one of the words that I was thinking of and you said it as I was thinking because they are very uplifting. And the other thing I love about them is that you worked on these with your daughter. And I think that's just an incredibly beautiful thing. Like, how many of us really, unless you're in a family business, most of us don't have the opportunity to work directly on a project so monumental as this with our children. And you did this with your daughter, which I think is just beautiful, actually, and to use what were the strengths of both of you. And I'm not saying you don't draw, Teresa, because I don't really totally know that about you, but she does. And you partnered with your writing and the things that you were bringing in from Graciella and your daughter to do the drawing. And that's just such an amazing gift and really a message for all of us about staying in community with our family and leaning on each other, the strengths that we have, and to make something that whether we share it just with family, whether we share it with the world, whether we just hold that energy with the two of us is just beautiful. And it is inspiring.
Thank you. It's interesting because it's like being able to, I think, to come out of your role as the mother and to see and to respect, well, in this case, my daughter's talents, her gifts, and to say, yes, I think that she can do this, and to, um, I mean, of course, I mean, nothing is perfect. Of course, I'm just like, you got to finish these cards. When are you going to finish? But then we got into a system, and it was on. I'll say her name is Mara Alicia Cordova. So so she brought herself to it, right? She's an individual in her own right. So it was like me coming out of myself and looking at her as my daughter. I want you to do this thing. It's like, okay, like when she can do it, how are we able to work together in order to do this? And I feel like Graciela really wanted her to be the one to do the illustration, which is so important to it. I mean, because what is it that you see when you look at it? You see all of these pictures. I think it's a little difficult with the way the background is. This is like the winter card where everything is seems quiet, but we all know that winter Earth, that many beautiful things are happening, and that reminds us that, in the stillness of life, that we are still creating, that there is still much more behind the scenes that we're even aware of as humans, as individuals, and that to, allow time to take time.
Mhm.
And in this case, with my daughter, like, that was just an added thing. But she was in her creative process too. And then we came up with something that is very beautiful. I still have all the little pictures that I drew for her, and a box with all the first blue images where she drew everything in blue. And it's a joy. It's a joy. Yeah.
So, Teresa, if someone wants to order the cards from you, and forgive me if you hear my dog, how would they do that?
They could actually contact me, which you will put my email there. They are available on Amazon. I know not everyone is on Amazon today, so you can either do that easily. They will still come from me. Even if you do order them through Amazon, they will come from my home.
Good to
So if you
know.
wanted to just reach out to me, you can do that, and I would mail them out to you. You could absolutely do that. They're on my website too. Yeah.
I
I'm
will
sorry.
say, yeah,
Luna's
I
being the
muted
big guard dog right now, so forgive me.
I know
So
I muted myself too because my dog was barking, I believe, at the deer in the yard this time.
but
But the other thing that I think is really beautiful, and you mentioned it, I have and do go onto your website when you draw cards and share them, and I have to tell you, I'm always struck by how connected they are, and it's almost like the reading that you put on there is done specifically for me. Now, I do know that you do readings for specific people, but they are really beautiful, and so, that's something that people might wanna consider doing as well because it's really lovely, and I know and stop me if you don't want me to talk into but Teresa also had for a while a podcast, an astrology podcast that was just very cool to listen to. And, and I know that you've set that aside because you have other projects that you're working on now, but they're so relevant. And, in this world, I think it's really important. And hopefully the podcast is this for some people to bring us to a place, just a quiet moment of sanity where we can calm ourselves and connect with something greater than ourselves and walk away with a bit of peace and a lot of compassion so that we can go about then the rest of our lives. And that's how I experience, when you share the cards and I do have my own deck of cards, which I use and love, but I love when you share them and
mhm,
just talk about the month. It's a very much, for those of you who listen to news, from Two Crones and a Microphone, it's very like that because you do that on a monthly basis and you kind of connect in with people. And it's just beautiful, actually.
You can always, sign up for my newsletter, which then you'd get it in your mailbox the first of the month, teresavarela.com. And, but what I'm hearing you talk about is, like, listening to the podcast, right? Listening and having something other, like I can, I get the messages that I need in terms of and also that I don't know, I feel some like a calmness here, just like talking to you, right? So if I feel a calmness in listening to the podcast, and there are certain things that I do that I want to get that state because things are just so there's so much upheaval in the world today for everyone, for everyone. Um, whether it's receiving the newsletter or, we figure out where we can plug into this. And we were talking earlier about meditation and about how important that is. And for me, it's something that I do, I would say 7 out of 7 days, or sometimes, 5 or 6, depending on if I have to go somewhere early, because and we all have a different way of meditating, and the important thing is to find out what's for you. And it's changed over the years. I used to when my kids were teenagers and they were in school, and I used to run early in the morning at like 5:30 in the morning in order to get a workout in. Um, I would do my meditation in my running, right? It was a running meditation that I did. Now I'm not doing the same thing. Now every morning I sit down and I say my prayers, and then I do the Emerald Tablets, which is a meditation that, I learned through Oshana. I'll bring her up again because she's sitting right here with us. I do the Emerald Tablets, and if I were to think of, "Oh my goodness," I could hear myself say, "Oh my goodness, this is so much. How are you doing that every morning?" But when you're doing it, it's not that much. It's something I look forward to. Like, I'll be sitting with my coffee, and I'll tell my spouse, "Excuse me now, I have to go and do my meditation," because it's something that I look forward to. And it doesn't take that long. It doesn't take that long. I mean, everyone has a different type of meditation. I mean, for some, it might be sitting for half an hour. For me, it's not. Well, for me, between the prayers, the meditation, pulling my card, because I do pull a card every morning, um, I would say it's about a half an hour, 20 minutes to a half an hour. Um, and it's not that long. It's not that long. That works for me, but each person should determine for themselves, what is it that I can do? Is it going to be in the evening? Is it going to be in the morning? Which type of meditation is going to work for me, and that I'm going to work, right? It's fine if you tell me that you're doing this particular meditation or prayer, But if I can't fit it into my life, it's not gonna work. It's not gonna work.
I think it's interesting too that, and I have noticed this, that it changes. Now that we're crones and maybe have a little more time, or we've had enough experience to maybe streamline things a little bit. Like I do a walking meditation when I take Luna out because that's the time I know I have 30 minutes right there. And you'd be amazed what comes to you. And yet when I get up in the morning, I take at least 15 minutes to sit, say my prayers, get myself settled for the morning, do my exercise. And it depends. If I have somebody with me, then no, I'm not going to be doing any form of meditation. We're listening and interacting. If I don't, then I use that time also to just plug in and see, what do I have to know today? What's going on? Is there something that I have to work on? The answer always comes. But that's totally different than what I did when I was younger. I started actually with transcendental meditation. You know how long ago that was? That was way back, I think in the 70s. Um, yeah, and different forms have come along. I learned a different form from Dolores Krieger. I learned a different form from, Rosalind Briere. I mean, and you pull from all of these, right? And then as a crone, you develop your own. How about you, Sally? Have you found that yours has changed over the years? I mean, God, when you were a mother, I don't even know how you managed to get it in there. 2 active boys. Woohoo.
I think, I was just thinking about that because, right, I start every day with morning tobacco prayers, right, through the tradition of Oshana,
Mhm.
but, I water my plants. I meditate when I water my plants, which that'll shift when the winter comes because I have this deck with all these herbs and stuff that I'm growing, and I go out and I talk to the plants. I water the plants, and that is really grounding for me, right? Because I'm watching the plants grow or I'm harvesting the plants or whatever I'm doing, and that is really meditative for me. It's some combination of the water and the sun is coming up and I find that really grounding, and things come to me when I'm watering the plants. So, but that is different. Before I retired, that was not in my wheelhouse to be doing that before I headed off to work at all. Just, but now I find that is something that I do. And yeah, interesting, right? Interesting how that changed. I never really thought about it. And certainly I have done emerald tablets, but I am not as faithful with doing emerald tablets as a meditation, as you might be, Teresa. Um, and certainly I've never done a running meditation because I am not a runner. So even in my younger years, I did not do running meditation. It was much more of like, I will pull a card and sit and meditate on the card and what I need to focus on for the day to help me with that, and that's probably the most regular grounding, pulling a card, sitting and meditating, maybe journaling about what comes up, in terms of what comes up for the day, and taking that and using that to guide my day. That's probably that and watering the plants are my 2 probably longest meditations.
It's
I think
interesting because I pull a card each morning and then I keep it on top of the deck, right? I keep it face up on the deck. And then I revisit it at night and say, how is it that this showed itself to me
right.
today? Um, because I feel like it's important to cap, right, the day, what we start, and then we cap it. Like I don't actually sit down to meditate. I may read in the evening, watch some TV, that sort of thing, or do a little needlepoint. Um, but yeah, when I do this, I just want there's one card here. It's the fear card. And this particular card, the woman is carrying this big heavy disc, right? And I remember one day, it's so interesting, and that's why I think it's important to come back and revisit the card because I know for myself, if I pull a fear card, I'm gonna, oh my goodness, I'm in fear, right? What is the fear? What is, then it becomes the fear. And this particular day, I pulled the fear card and I went to work. I don't know if you can see it because, again, this is kind of like, so she's carrying this heavy disc. She doesn't look very happy here. So she has the disc. That's the important thing in her hand. Whatever it is that she's carrying, I don't know what it is. So I pulled that card. I went to work. And I'm like thinking to myself, where is fear going to come in today? I really don't want to deal with fear. And I get to work, and the security guard at the shelter says to me, "Oh, Dr. Varela, I got to tell you something that happened. That's terrible." I'm like, "So what happened?" She says, "Well, the pharmacy, they sent you a pie, and we received it yesterday. You weren't here, but we ate the pie. And we realized it was your pie, and we should have had it for you." And it was like so clear to me. This woman was in such fear with the
Oh,
pie, telling me about the pie. So, and this was the card. There was nothing else that happened that day that it could have even had been symbolic of or attached to. And which brings to mind, it's like, lighten up a little bit. Like everything is not so heavy. Laugh. You know, tough times are happening. We can have difficult times. I thought it was so cute that they ate the pie, that they had the nerve to eat the pie that had come in my name. They
and
wanted a
not save
pie.
you a piece, not even a little sliver.
No, no, but she couldn't live with herself and has to tell me about it. And I thought it was just perfect so that she got over her fear by being able to say it, right? Like it must
Mm,
have stayed with her because she was terrified. I would never have found out about the pie because I wouldn't have known, but she told me, and we were able to laugh about it, and I breathed more deeply, she breathed more deeply, and it was all good, and it was all good.
And
Yeah.
you could all let the fear go, and of course, I'm laughing because they ate the pie, but they told you they ate the
yeah.
pie, so oh,
Oh
funny.
my goodness. I'm looking at the time. I can't believe where it's gone. We have had such a great time. This was just like sitting around my dining room table hanging out, you know? Um, Teresa, do you think you could do a second podcast for us? There's so much more to talk about, particularly your books. I would love to talk about your books. They won awards. They're so interesting. I love reading them. Is
Yeah.
there another one coming out?
Well, yeah, that's something we could probably talk about during the next time because I will come back. I love this. This
Good.
is just
Thank
so
you.
good for me. I just love sharing with you, just sharing with you what we do and what puts smiles on our faces. I know every time I get together with you that it makes me feel good, right? And this is that again.
Yeah.
And that's what we're here to do is to help each other feel good and support each other and love each other and I don't know how much better it gets than that. So yeah, I'd love to come back. Thank you for inviting me back. And thank you for today.
Yeah, that's
Absolutely.
awesome. Because I think about that, because one of the pillars of the podcast is to build community, to build and strengthen community, to help support and kind of navigating through these times. But that I'll leave that for you to summarize with that, Betty, because that's kind of your byline. But I do think there are so many ways to build community. And while I struggle with technology, I think the podcast and even, doing the YouTube channel and the videos we place there is a way of building community and helping people realize that they are not alone. And I think this is a time where it's very easy to feel alone and disconnected. So that's awesome. I don't know. I can't believe I haven't been watching the time either, but I'm listening to you, Betty, saying it's time to summarize. So if we
Think
were
so.
gonna summarize, I would just say thank you, Teresa, and please let people know how they can get a hold of you. And again, while Teresa's telling us this now verbally, we will post all these things onto the website along with her bio so that you can check it out and connect with her individually if you want to do that.
And I would encourage you to do that. really. I mean, it's a very rich experience, working with Theresa. It really is, so I'm just lucky we're friends and, we've known each other for so long, so it's really great. And maybe in the next podcast, we'll tell you that little story, how we actually met each other and then reconnected years later. So with
We
that
can do that.
note, I am going to wrap it up. Don't forget, we have a website, twocronesandamicrophone.com, where we list a whole bunch of pertinent information. Sally does write a blog, so if you sign up for our newsletter, you will be getting that every single month. You can also pick it up now on, I think it's Threads. I think that's what I've been posting it on. And until the next time, we're coming up with, hey, by the way, everybody, at the time we're doing this podcast, Halloween is coming. And don't forget, that's when the veil is really, really thin. So if you want to contact those have gone on before you, now is the time to do it. They're always there. Your ancestors are always there waiting to help you. And, they're just waiting for you to ask. So take advantage of it. On that note, we're trying to help you to navigate the muddy waters of our time. I am going to say goodbye to you all, and I'll let Sally and Theresa.
So, Theresa, anything you want to end with or anything Graciella wants to end with?
Oh, what does
Uh,
Pascal?
Good question.
Okay, well, Graciela would like to say that her key word is compassion, but as you extend compassion outward, is to be sure to extend it inward. Bring it inward for yourself too. To give yourself a little break here and there. To know that you're human and we're all doing the best that we can during these times, as difficult as that may be, and to reach out to your sisters and your brothers and all those people who help to fill you and to make that path just a little bit easier to walk. That's what I have.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
And Linda, if she was joining us, would say to make sure to take time to find your glimmer and to remember to walk in beauty. Kadishte, all is made beautiful. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Hi, if you're enjoying Two Crones and a Microphone, please like this video and hit the subscribe button. Enjoy timeless wisdom from modern times, all served up by women in the know.